Before Meghan Markle met Harry, she made a bold move in a Hollywood audition that stunned the casting room. But was it ambition or grandiosity? In this video, we're breaking down the psychological traits behind Meghan's early decisions and how this moment may have set the stage for everything that followed. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. The article we're going to go through today is titled Royal Author on Meghan Markle's Audition Gaffe and Role Working with Ashton Kutcher. I think it's quite funny that just the other day we were talking about Ashton and his involvement in a group that purchased Soho House, and here comes out another article that's highlighting the relationship between Ashton and Meghan. And of course, I mean, all we know is that they worked together once many, many, many years ago. It's just quite a coincidence, wink, wink. The article begins before landing the role of Rachel Zane in Suits, Meghan Markle was tenacious in her attempt to break into the acting world, despite facing multiple rejections. She has spoken about her struggles with auditioning and the difficulty landing a role, taking odd jobs to make an income on the side. After a handful of small roles, the 24-year-old Northwestern graduate jumped at the chance to play a minor role alongside People's Choice Award winner Ashton Kutcher. Let's pause here. What I want to mention just from the get go is Meghan's experience is not unique. This is probably the history of every single person that's made it in Hollywood. Looking into her history, we've heard or she's talked about how she worked at a frozen yogurt shop. A quick Google search also mentioned that she had temporary office jobs and audition coaching gigs. We know she worked as a freelance calligrapher. And I'm not mentioning talent. I'm just talking about she did do that work. This is just what happens when you're in preparation for your future career. I'm not in Hollywood, and I can tell you I did some full-time and part-time jobs during my education. I worked retail as a teaching assistant in university stockrooms. That's just what happens. If you want to share what you did while you were waiting on landing your dream job or goal, please feel free to share that in the comments. The article continues. Biographer Sean Smith wrote in his book, Meghan Misunderstood, that shortly after graduating, Meghan was soon back home in LA, impatient to make a start as a proper actress. Her former theater professor, Dr. Harvey Young, reportedly said, "She's a lovely woman with drive. It's the latter that's the key component for success." The cover of the book is right here, and it was published in 2020. Personally, I don't think I could read this book. I think I would get extremely frustrated. I tried reading the Omid Scobie books, and I just can't. The way she's described, at least in Scobie's book, is at such odds with her actual behavior and the actions she's taken. It's a great example of pay attention to what people do and not what they say. As we dig through this article, what I really want to talk about is this drive aspect of it, because I feel I have drive, but there's a difference between being grandiose and believing you're better than everybody else, so you're deserving of more, and having perseverance and humility. The article then continues and is describing Meghan's audition to play in a movie with Ashton. And it says, Meghan was nowhere near the top of the cast list, of course. Her audition itself was like a scene from a satire on Hollywood. The biographer wrote, from Meghan's point of view, the important consideration was that she did not give up. The British director Nigel Cole, whose recent credits included Saving Grace and Calendar Girls, was sitting in and said to her, "Can you say hi?" Meghan reportedly responded, "I can. However, I've read the script and I really respond to this other role and I'd like to audition for that." Smith wrote, this was not how auditions worked. She observed, this panic spread across the room because who does that? Who takes that sort of risk? She didn't get the part she wanted, but she did secure Hot Girl #1. I'm going to play a little bit of the clip from the movie. YouTube may end up taking this out or muting it because of copyright reasons. I will pause and give commentary in order to avoid that. So let's watch it. Hi. Hi. I didn't realize that she says hi to Ashton and he doesn't really even look her way. Let's continue. Megan does that weird jaw clenching thing. She's not very good at acting. The impression I'm getting is she's trying to get her face on the camera. Oh, looks like she did the hair thing back then too. Oh, Megan is definitely interested in money. And that's the end of the clip. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of this clip? Let me know. What stood out to me most about this article is that there is ambition and drive there, right? She's given an opportunity to have an incredibly minor role, but she's advocating for herself. She's showing she did the homework because she read the script, and she's bold enough to request that audition. Because of my belief that Megan is a malignant narcissist, what I see in that behavior is grandiose self image and specialness. This was an early example of Megan placing herself outside the rules, acting as though the normal audition process doesn't apply to her. It signals inflated self perception, believing her insight or talent set her apart from everyone else in the room. It also demonstrates rule bending entitlement, the assumption that she should have access to more desirable roles, even though she hasn't proven herself in the industry. But where is that line? What is the difference between someone who's a go getter, who's ambitious, versus someone who's grandiose and believes that they have this uniqueness or specialness above everybody else? Because I'm definitely a go getter. I know that about myself. I advocate for myself and my team. At the same time, though, I don't believe that I have some unique or special advantage over somebody else. I want to go through four different qualities to set a definition or to try to tease out what's the difference between a go getter and someone who has this sense of grandiose specialness. The first is motivation. A go getter wants to grow, wants to learn and improve. Ambition is Ambition is rooted in self development and persistence. And this person understands there's a process and respects it even when pushing boundaries. Someone with grandiose specialness believes they're already exceptional, even without proof of capability. They feel entitled to skip steps, rules, or hierarchies, and they seek status and recognition more than actual skill mastery. Megan saying, I've read the script and I'd like to audition for this role isn't automatically bad, but doing it early in your career in front of an entire casting room without a track record, that leans into grandiosity rather than earned ambition. The next is self-perception. A go-getter says to themselves, I'll prove I can handle this. Confidence is balanced with awareness of limitations and readiness to be told no. Failure is feedback and not their identity. Versus in grandiose specialness, they tell themselves, I deserve this because I'm different. They see themselves as exceptional by default, not through demonstrated experience. Rejection often triggers defensiveness or reframing to protect the ego. This immediately reminds me of when the Queen made an offer to have Duchess Sophie become a role model and a mentor for Meghan, and Meghan declined. She believed she was exceptional by default, and she didn't need any preparation for the role she was stepping into within the royal family. The next is relationship with rules. A go getter might challenge norms, but acknowledges boundaries and respects others' authority. They negotiate within the system rather than assuming the rules don't apply. Versus in grandiose specialness, they feel the standard process is beneath them. They believe systems should bend to accommodate their vision or talent. This type of behavior often surprises or unsettles people in authority because of the unexpected entitlement. In Megan's case, the casting team panicked. That reaction is telling because it suggests she broke an unspoken social contract. Newcomers are expected to prove themselves first. And finally, the focus on process versus outcome. A go getter values skill building and mastery over appearance. They see small roles as stepping stones and they view each opportunity as progress, even without instant spotlight. Versus grandiose specialness, they prioritize visibility, status, and narrative control over experience. They seek They seek shortcuts that elevate their image quickly, and they view minor roles as beneath them. Or or if they do get a minor role, they repackage them as bigger than they were. And I'm thinking Meghan and her humanitarianism and what she did in Rwanda, her speech at the UN, which itself was inflated, and the story she told about her 11-year-old self and the dish soap is repackaging things as bigger than they actually were. For someone leaning toward malignant narcissism, specialness isn't just confidence, it's identity protective. They use self narratives to signal exceptionalism, like telling themselves, I was always destined for more. They curate every career step to appear bigger than reality, and they rarely attribute success to teamwork, mentorship, or luck. Instead, they reframe events to reinforce personal superiority. And there is a key litmus test. If this opportunity didn't serve their desired image, would they still pursue it? A go getter pursues growth even when it's messy or unglamorous, versus someone with grandiose specialness pursues opportunities that affirm their pre written storyline, skipping steps that don't match the persona they want. So I'm curious to know, what do you think about this? Did you also ask yourself, do I have grandiose tendencies? Because I definitely did. I'm definitely a go-getter and ambitious, and I try to persevere. But going through that list of definitions between a go-getter and someone with grandiose specialness, I'm definitely under that go-getter category. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.